Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to the announcement video of my second Master of Them All tournament. This tournament series was something I started way back in August, but only had the chance and time to do one tournament, so it has been quite a very long time since I've done something like this through my channel, and I figured, it's getting close to the end of the year, so we might as well do another one. So the concept of this tournament, as you see right here, is that it will be a mixed region monotype tournament, and I will get a little bit more into what exactly that means in just a second. But as far as the generic tournament details are concerned, in basically telling you exactly when and where this is going to be, so mark your calendars. The date of this tournament is going to be Saturday, December 21st, 2013, obviously, and this is about 2 weeks from now, so this should give you plenty of time to get your teams ready and maybe even have the chance to practice against some people in the time being, who knows. And then the time for this tournament is going to be noon that same day, so 12 o'clock, and this is Eastern Standard Time. I stress this is Eastern Standard Time, not whatever time it is where you are in New Zealand. It's Eastern Standard Time, okay? So, the way to easily go about finding what time this is for you is to go to a website called thetimezoneconverter.com, and I have a link to that in the description, so please check that out if you want to see what time it is, because during the last tournament, I had somebody around like 5 p.m. randomly message me and be like, hey, I'd like to register, and I'm like, yeah, well, the tournament's over. I'm sorry. So yeah, make sure you know what time that is for you, Eastern Standard Time. This is actually not going to be taking place in the YouTube chat room like it did last time. I actually got permission from the people that are the mods in the tournament's chat room to run this, and they will actually be able to assist me a little bit in the process of doing this, which I am extremely thankful for. So everybody thank the people on Showdown for allowing me to do this. We have a time slot already set up, which is really awesome. I did this a lot more officially than the last time, so I'm hoping that the results of the tournament will be even better, and hopefully everybody involved and watching the stream will have an even better experience than last time. And obviously, I will be streaming this just like last time at my live stream at www.twitch.tv/Rykard3. But moving on to the general rules of the tournament, the first thing to obviously make note of is that it is a double elimination tournament, just like last time, meaning that there is both a winners and losers bracket, so if you do lose, you still have another chance to potentially win the tournament, as you'll be now put into losers bracket and have to fight your way through there until you eventually get through grand finals. I had a lot of people just completely drop out of the tournament last time after they lost their first match because they figured that was the end of it, but that is not the case because it's double elimination. So please make note of that and do not leave once you lose your first match, and even stay and watch the stream if you're out really early, because you might get to see some really exciting matches, like there were a few of last time. Also, matches will take place using the Pokebank OU Tier. This is obviously 6th Gen mechanics. You just click on the tier on the left side of Showdown and just go to Pokebank OU, as this will allow every single Pokemon that is currently out to be available and used for purposes of this tournament, which is really cool, so you get to use everything. As far as the abilities, all of them that are currently released are allowed, meaning that you cannot unfortunately use Snow Warning Auroros or Rockhead Tyranitarite, just to name a couple, but everything else that is currently out is allowed. As far as the battle timer, you should always turn that on because that will allow the matches to go a little bit quicker, as this tournament should not last super long, but even if it does, you should still put the battle timer on for all of your matches. And also, as far as all the clauses are concerned, the Pokebank OU Tier enforces all of these just naturally anyway, but I figured I would just leave these here for you to know. Species clause, meaning that you cannot have 2 of the same Pokemon on your team, aka like 2 Gyarados. You can't do that because it's the same Pokemon, so that's what species clause is. Sleep clause means that you cannot have more than 2 Pokemon put to sleep on your opponent's team. Evasion clause means you cannot use moves such as double team or minimize. However, you are allowed to use moves that lower your opponent's accuracy. That is totally okay. OHKO clause, aka you're not allowed to use moves like Horn Drill or Sheer Force. And the Moody clause, which is an ability that is banned because it's a stupid ability, so that is in effect you can have no Pokemon with the Moody ability. As far as the ban list is concerned, the current ban list for 6th Gen OU is in effect, and then there's a few other things that I'm also banning for purposes of this tournament. The items Gengarite and Kangaskhanite are banned because those 2 Mega Evolutions are just ridiculously powerful, and I feel like if that was allowed, pretty much every single team would be either mono ghost or poison or mono normal. So I'm banning those to just make those two Pokemon a little bit less powerful. The regular versions are completely fine though, so feel free to use those. As far as some other Pokemon, Genesect is going to be banned because I'm assuming it's going to be eventually, so I'm banning that. I'm also banning Kyurem-Black because I don't know why it's even allowed, and I'm also banning all forms of Deoxys because I also don't know why this is allowed. And then also, I'm banning the abilities Drought, Drizzle, Snow Warning, and Sandstream because I feel like it gives an unfair advantage to Pokemon that make use of those abilities in a monotype setting, and will also cause most people to migrate towards using a team that makes use of those abilities. So, for example, a Rain team would just naturally be stronger than other teams because of Drizzle, Politoed. So I'm banning that. You can use Politoed, you just can't use Drizzle for it. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're building your team. But in regards to the more tournament-specific rules, the first thing we need to know is that all teams must be comprised of 6 members that all share one type in common. And this is essentially what Monotype is. So for example, if you choose Water as your Monotype, every single Pokemon on your team has to be a Water type in some regard. This does allow Pokemon to be water typed with something else. So for example, you are doing a water type team and you're like, you know what, I want to use a Tentacruel. Tentacruel is water type with poison. So why that could also be encouraged, in my opinion, is that being dual typed, one being your monotype, the other being something else, not only gives you more resistances, but also gives you a way to handle other types a lot better. For example, if you do use Tentacruel, that allows you to handle fairy teams a lot better, as well as grass types a lot better, or monotype grass teams. So that's actually encouraged and will allow you to definitely make some pretty unique teams based around different types. The other part of this tournament is that it is a mixed region tournament, which means that, in my opinion, all teams must be comprised of Pokemon representing at least 5 different regions, except for the 3 following types. So basically, you need to have like Kanto, Johto, Kalos, Hoenn, etc. all on your team. Only 5 regions are necessary though, because if I did 6, there would be some problems to run into. But the 3 types where you actually are allowed to only have 4 regions represented are Dragon, Ghost, and Fairy. Dragon being that if Dragon was 5 regions, you would have to use Dragonite, because Dragonite's the only Dragon-type Pokemon that exist in the Kanto and Johto region. So you only need 4 to make it so that you don't have to use Dragonite, which I thought was something to keep in mind. Also, Ghost is a little bit weird in this regard because it forces you to use either Gengar or Misdreavus. You have to use one or the other if it was 5 regions, so you only have to use 4 for Ghost. Especially because most of the ghost types are in the later regions anyway, and that just wouldn't be fair. And then also, fairy types are only responsible for using 4 regions as well on these teams, because this would actually force you to use either Togekiss or Whimsicott, both of which are really good options, but it would force you to use one or the other, because they are Pokemon that are only seen in both the 4th region and 5th region. So that is just something to make note of in regards to the Pokemon typing and how many regions you need represented. Now, there are a couple of questions that we actually discussed on my stream recently about Mega Evolutions and how they are affected by this, and the thing that we came up with is that Pokemon that change type upon Mega Evolving are only allowed on teams where the type being used is shared between both the normal and Mega forms of the Pokemon. So the example would be Gyarados. Gyarados is water flying, but when it Mega Evolves, it becomes water dark. Therefore, you cannot use Gyarados on a mono dark team because it's not always a dark type. You also can't use Mega Gyarados on a flying team because if using Mega Gyarados, it loses its flying typing. However, you can use both forms of Gyarados on a water team, and you can use regular Gyarados on a flying team provided that you don't Mega Evolve it. So that is just something to keep in mind. And also, what I'm going to point out is that in terms of regions, Mega Evolutions are not being counted as Kalos region Pokemon, but rather the region the regular Pokemon came from. So for example, if you're using Mega Absol, this actually counts as a Hoenn Pokemon because it was Absol. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're selecting the members of your team. Now at this point, I'm sure many of you are wondering, Rykard, how do I register for this tournament? Well, my friend, you will be registering for this tournament by creating first an account on www.challenge.com. This is the website where I ran the bracket of my last tournament, and unlike last time where I actually had a registration time, I'm going to allow you to now register by yourself after you have created an account on challenge.com. So all you need to do is go into the description of this video where you will find the link to the tournament page, and you will click on the sign up button on the tournament page once you have created your account. Now, it is important to note that the name you register with on Challenge must be the same username you go by on Pokemon Showdown to avoid confusion. Now, if you already have a Challenge account and this isn't the same username that you go by on Pokemon Showdown, there is actually a way to get around this in that you can actually change your name upon registering for the tournament. And the way you do this is you click on the sign up with a team name button once you are registering for the tournament, and this will allow you to register using the name of your Pokemon Showdown name so that we have everybody lined up in the way that they should and everyone knows who they're supposed to be battling, as you are all to be finding the battles yourselves in the chat room, which is why it's important for every single one of you involved in the tournament to be in the tournament's chat room on Pokemon Showdown as this is going on. Now, as of right now, I'm going to cap the registration at 128. We only had 122 members in the last tournament, which honestly is really impressive. But if we do get more, because I am allowing you to sign up a lot easier this time as opposed to being there for the registration, I just assumed that would have been a good idea last time because there are a lot of people that'll sign up and then just forget or just not show up or something like that. Because I'm allowing you to do this, if the cap is reached before the tournament date, I will actually expand it. So just let me know if that happens, or actually I'll be watching it as well. But if we have more than 128 people registered, then I will obviously expand that to like 256 or something like that, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, there are more than 128 of you that will see this video, but not every one of you can participate. So we'll see what happens, but it's kind of on a first come, first serve basis as of right now. So that is something to keep in mind. Also, there are a few other things to consider when you're in this tournament. Because I am giving the players more control out of what goes on, you are actually responsible now for reporting your matches, meaning you can actually do this on Challenge. You go there, you click on, hey, I won, and then you do that. And these need to be the truthful matches, or the truthful results, because if you lie, I will kick you out of the tournament. Pretty much as simple as that goes. So do not lie about it. If there is a problem, please send me a message or a private message in the chat room. I will obviously be in the chat room as well. Don't spam the actual chat. Send me a private message to avoid any problems. But that will obviously, I will basically handle the problem in that situation. So that is something to just keep in mind. So yeah, if there are any issues regarding people lying about if they lost or not, just let me know and I will take care of it, as well as possibly the other people in the chat that are mods in the chat room helping me out. And also, just like last time, please share all your replays with me. Basically, you do this by clicking on the share replay button after the match is over, and then copy and pasting the link in a private message to me. I'll get that, and then I will basically post that in a later video like I did last time, where I basically had the entire bracket mapped out in tournament matches on that Google Doc that I made. And I want to do the same thing this time to allow you all to have a really awesome viewing experience after the tournament is over, in case you missed it, or in case you want to rewatch some of your favorite matches or your own matches to maybe learn from your mistakes and other things like that. Also, this is important to know that do not send me the link to the battle. This is different. The share replay button is the thing I want. You don't know how many times I got a link to the battle which is no longer active, so I couldn't actually post the replay, so that's just something to keep in mind. But anyways, I'll just throw up the tournament details one more time. So I hope to see you all come out for this tournament. It should be a really awesome experience, and I hope that a lot of you make some really creative and awesome mixed region monotype teams. That's it for this video, everybody. So as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.